All right, welcome back. Today, we're going to talk about something that sounds super complicated, machine learning. But we're going to see how it's actually becoming, well, surprisingly simple. It's all about unlocking secrets hidden right inside your data, sometimes in places you'd never think to look. So let me ask you this. What if the biggest driver of your sales isn't even in your spreadsheets? I mean, seriously, what if that one thing that makes people choose you is hiding in plain sight? We're not talking about numbers in a column. We're talking about your product photos, your customer reviews, all that unstructured stuff. Okay, so before we get to the cool stuff, let's just be real for a second. For most businesses, even thinking about machine learning has been, well, a massive headache. It's always felt like something reserved for the big guys, the ones with teams of PhDs and bottomless budgets. Yeah, the old way of doing this stuff is just a mess. It's this crazy multi-step nightmare. First, you got to pull your data out. Then you have to move that data somewhere else for your data science team to work their magic with special tools like Python or R. And then, get this, once the model's finally built, you have to move it again to a whole different system to actually use it. It's slow, it's complicated, and it's a fantastic way to blow your budget. So when you put them side by side, the difference is just night and day. On one hand, you've got the old way, moving data all over the place, which is a security nightmare, by the way. And it demands these super specialized skills most teams just don't have. But then you've got the BigQuery ML way. And here's the magic. Your data doesn't move. You use the SQL skills your analysts already have, and all that complicated infrastructure, poof, it's just handled for you. It's a total game changer. So you're probably asking, how in the world does it get that simple? Well, the secret sauce is something millions of data people already know and use every single day. Good old SQL. No, seriously, it basically boils down to this. One command. Instead of that whole nightmare pipeline we just talked about, you can train a really sophisticated ML model with a single SQL query. You literally just say, create model, point it at your data, and BigQuery takes care of all the heavy lifting in the background. It's kind of unbelievable. And that really gets to the heart of it. The whole idea is this simple, powerful phrase. If you know SQL, you can do ML. I mean, think about what that means. The barrier to entry, it's just been completely obliterated. This isn't just for data scientists anymore. We're talking about data analysts, business intelligence folks, engineers. Suddenly, they can all get in on the action. Okay, that all sounds great in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world, with messy data? Well, let's dig into this awesome story from a vacation rental company that decided to put this whole idea to the test. So meet Twitty. They're in the vacation rental business, and they had a really important question. What makes someone actually click on one of our listings? But here's the catch. They had a hunch that the answer wasn't in their normal data. It was hidden somewhere in their thousands and thousands of property photos. Now, how on earth do you analyze a pile of images with SQL? It sounds impossible, right? Well, they use this clever feature in BigQuery called an object table. The best way to picture it is like a giant digital photo album. It basically gives BigQuery a way to see and understand all those image files without ever having to move them. They just stay right where they are. Okay, this is the next really cool part. They used a pre-built AI vision model to turn every single photo into something called an image embedding. Just think of it like a unique numerical fingerprint for each picture. This fingerprint is a bunch of numbers that describes what's in the photo. Does it have a pool? Is there a beach? Is it a bright daytime shot? All that visual essence gets captured in the numbers. And this is where the real magic happens. Twitty took those image fingerprints, all that rich visual data, and they combined it with their normal everyday spreadsheet data. Stuff like the number of bedrooms, the price, how far it is from the beach. They threw it all into one single model to try and predict what gets the most clicks. All right, so let's get to the good part. Let's look at what they found. Because honestly, this is where the story gets really, really interesting. So, what do you think they found? After all that, what truly made people click? Was it the price? The number of beds? How close it was to town? What was it? Nope. It was this. 57%. That is a huge number. What does it mean? It means that 57% of the reason the model could predict a click came directly from the photos. Just let that sink in for a second. More than half of the story was in the pictures. That visual data was more important than the number of bedrooms, the price, the location, all that stuff they thought was so important, combined. Absolutely mind-blowing. But look, the big win here isn't just the cool number. It's what Twitty could do with that information. All of a sudden, they had a data-driven playbook. It told them, hey, use more photos with water in them. Pools, the ocean, you name it. Make sure your photos are bright and taken during the day. And you know what? Maybe ease up on the pictures of porches and stairways. These are real actionable things they can do to get more business, like right now. Okay, so the Twitty story is amazing, and it's all about images. But the implications here are so much bigger. This whole approach is unlocking potential everywhere, and the platform just keeps growing. It's not just about images anymore. Now we're seeing tools for really advanced forecasting, a central hub to manage all your different AI models, plus support for the tools data scientists already love, like Python and XGBoost. The whole point is to build this one-stop shop that's super powerful and flexible, no matter what you're trying to figure out. And that brings us full circle, right back to the question we started with. If AI and machine learning are really becoming this easy to use, if you can analyze not just your spreadsheets, but your images, your documents, all of it, using skills your team already has, what secrets, what hidden value is just sitting there, waiting to be unlocked in your data? Something to think about.